What's going on, community? Oh man, little family, little football here. Gotta give everybody our PC update for the week. Hit a couple of cool stats, a little bit of an RH tweet, and there's actually some cool stuff that's more macro I wanted to touch on. So some of the stats that are pretty cool. We just cleared 430 billion PulseX burned. So we are getting, let's see, I think, roughly looking at probably another couple of weeks. And man, we're actually gonna clear 500 billion PulseX burn. Crazy how powerful that buy and burn's been on supply. So that's a big one for all the PulseX guys. The prices, again, obviously we know kind of depression over sacrifice, but what we've seen here recently is pretty solid. We kind of hit one of those psychological bears where we dropped the 0 back to 4 zeros and a 1 on PulseX. We saw Pulse jump up over in the 4s. Again, just as this recording, these things are pretty volatile, but still, there's some psychological levels there. Kind of cool to see that break a bit of a trend there. Real positive for PulseX. Clear 40,000 validators. Just insane to have that kind of just node participation, especially spread out the way it is. Really cool there. The block explorers that we've touched on recently, they're up. A couple of different teams have theirs out. Check them out. It's really cool again to see all that fruit of development. Again, like that's what we touch. That's what's on the chain. That's what's really valuable there. Yeah, and then we saw the the big tweet from RH that's really cool, highlights some of the dips and just how often they've dipped and how often that they've come up. And one thing that I think he does really cool is, we always, everybody holds him up there, to that, the highest of standards, but he's brought it multiple times. Hey, I came in, I bought the $20 top, watched it go down heavy. And that's something we all have experienced, right? Being inside of these markets and seeing those dips. So I think it's always a good reminder. There's a few guys, there's actually a small story from LV that I've probably brought up a dozen times, but it's one that reminds me because, he's one that I've always been, really keen on how his disposition is. So when you hear some of these guys, especially someone like RH mention, hey, I bought tops, I've got wrecked, I've done this, puts these things back in context for you, So I thought it was a good, kind of a timely one as always to kind of get those reminders about, hey, that's how much this stuff moves up and down. It's not the end of the world. It's bear markets, right? SeptemBEAR. So that's where we're at there. So we have there, a lot of these movements around. I still think, again, if you look across all the engagement, all this, we're looking super strong on the chain. And then, again, I've used this term a bit, and I think it's important. So everyone sees all the negative stuff that goes on with crypto when it comes to the macro side of events. But there's a lot of cross currents. There's a lot of positive stuff. So, again, for better or worse, with PayPal's stablecoin, again, they have their own concerns there as far as some centralization issues. But they did their transparency report, showed their assets. They're already up in issuance over 40 million in like less than 38 days. So you're seeing a big push there. We're coming up on some of the deadlines for Wyoming, who wants to issue a state stablecoin. And they're not the only ones. Now, I pay attention to Wyoming a little bit because I'm a big fan of Caitlin Long, and she's been a huge proponent for safer banking regulations, especially in regards to crypto, digital assets. So she's with Custodia, and they're legends. She's definitely worth a follow. I'm a huge fan of hers. Very savvy lady. We should all try to be like Caitlin when we grow up. So we see that big push in not only Wyoming, but also Texas has pushed out some proposals about actually doing it with a gold-backed stablecoin. So again, we're seeing, that's why I bring up this cross current. Like there's lots of positives. We're seeing states push for their own, digital currencies. There's all kinds of interesting market mechanics on how those things can play out. What effect they could have both on just like macro side, issuance, all of these kinds of things. So really cool to see those guys push there. Deutsche Bank, another big one. They partnered with Taurus for their custodianship, and they're going to be in and trying to get digital licenses. I know they've applied in a couple of different countries. So we're seeing Deutsche Bank be another one of these massive players stepping up, wanting to have more partners, wanting to have a bigger role into the crypto space. So it's everywhere, like everywhere, that we're seeing this growth and participation. So again, it's bear markets. It's easy to get depressed. Make sure that when we're looking around, we're always going to hear the blood in the streets and the bad headlines. Speaking of that reminds me, there's one other one that I wanted to highlight. There was a bit of a tiff there where someone had interacted with a bridge. I can't remember the name of the protocol, but they were concerned that TRM, that this protocol is basically like KYC partner, had blacklisted PulseChain and the bridge. A little bit of a tissy back and forth. It's been squared away. There is no issue there. So just so people know, if they kind of caught that half year, there's not any issues there. There's no KYC. There's no special issue going on or, any governance problems around the bridge. So again, just a small one. But overall, as I was hitting on with the macro, there's a lot going on. It's a lot more positive than it feels. It's so easy just to catch all the bad headlines, especially if all you see is like hop on X and see people arguing. There's a lot be going on. Make sure you check out, there's a couple of ones. So RH also put out a tweet, and they put out the aggregator between Pulse 1 and V2 and V1. I got a video that goes over that. It's very, very clean, lays this stuff out really, really clean and simple. What it really just means is less slippage, better order execution. And that's that. You don't really have to do much. The auto routing's there. You can look through the pairs here. So when you're actually executing a transaction, if you'll click the button, you'll see that little drop down, and you can actually see the pairings and in route and how it went through. So that's it. Simply less slippage, better order execution. Very cool stuff. And then CC as well put out a video, and also another one that's really cool that's a part of a longer form with Halborn. But the content that he did going over where we're at on everything is really savvy and shows just how in-depth, again, all the audits are.
So this wasn't just purely a transaction. Whilst it may be perceived as a transaction because we're having something audited, the relationship aspect was really important. So we wanted to have conversations with the auditor as we're going through, just to sort of highlight any issues that come up, that we could have those conversations. And I think by and large, it's been a really good experience for us with Halborn.
So again, we're in our home stretch, finishing everything up. Guys, we're looking real positive. We're going to get through this SeptemBEAR, have more on the chain, more to do. Keep looking these stats up. Keep trying to give everybody a heads up on the macro, and we'll get back to action, baby. Catch y'all next week.